classic GTA is a lot tougher than modern GTA. I found out that the hard way with GTA 3. GTA 3 being the first one in the modern look to how GTA would be, like the sandbox, the 3D figures, and 3D city, free roam, and your cars and all that stuff. It's not like GTA 1 and 2 or the handheld games like Chinatown Wars or GTA Advanced. It's the formula that started it all, that began this wave of sandbox games with all sorts of driving cars and all that stuff, like the Mafia game, like Saints Row, Watch Dogs, Sleeping Dogs. This formula was so popular it worked, but it took a bunch of duds to properly work. And then you have Liberty City Stories, which is a confusing game. Admittedly, it had to look downgraded from San Andreas, the third title in the series. We go from GTA 3 to Vice City to San Andreas. San Andreas had a 2-year development cycle. Vice City had a 1-year development cycle. Meaning GTA 3 came out 1 year later, we got Vice City. Less than a year, even. And then 2 years after Vice City, we get San Andreas, which was like, what? So the 2001, 2002, then 2004. Roughly the next year, in 2005, we would get Liberty City Stories on the newly released PSP, the PlayStation Portable. And then the following year, they ported Liberty City Stories onto the PlayStation 2. And that's the version that I have, and that's the version that I've been playing. Liberty City Stories, even on the PS2, content-wise, is very starved. It very much feels like it's GTA 3, but slightly different, slightly upgraded. Unlike in GTA 3, where you couldn't have bikes, motorcycles have been added into Liberty City Stories. And whereas Clyde, the main character from GTA 3, who is a silent protagonist, Tony Cipriani, is a vocalized, talkative protagonist. Liberty City Stories, like Vice City Stories, is a prequel. It takes place before the main game. Vice City Stories takes place before Vice City. Liberty City Stories takes place before GTA 3. I wonder why they never made San Andreas Stories. That would have been pretty fun, making a prequel to San Andreas, maybe with Big Smoke doing all of his stuff and all that. It would have been pretty fun. It would have been, honestly. The rise of Grove Street, and then it fell when Carl left or whatever, I don't know. It would have been pretty fun. It would have been pretty fun to see a prequel to San Andreas like that. But I haven't finished San Andreas. I just played a couple missions of it. I actually really enjoyed everything that I saw in it. I explored part of Los Santos, and it surprises me how well it looks. GTA 5 pretty much took all of Los Santos and just into its... It's incredible how good San Andreas was. It's just incredible to me. Liberty City Stories, though, it comes out a year after San Andreas. I don't know if development on Liberty City Stories took place after San Andreas released or before San Andreas released. If there was any communication between the studios that worked on San Andreas and Liberty City Stories respectively, or if they exchanged any type of gameplay mechanics that they added into San Andreas, being like, oh hey, here's some extra car armor for these cars, like they could get banged up a whole lot more before they fall apart. Do you want to add that into Liberty City Stories? And I don't know if somebody said, nah, let's not do that, or if they just didn't do that, period, because there wasn't communication for that, or if they thought there just wasn't enough room, or if they thought that there wasn't enough time in the development cycle before their budget due date. So who knows behind the scenes what's going on, and I'm willing to be forgiving there. Like, if there's any behind-the-scenes information that explains why things are the way they are in Liberty City Stories, and all of my complaints that I have with the game, if there's an explanation for the behind the scenes thing like budget constraints, time constraints, or there just wasn't enough communication, that's understandable. I can be understanding about that type of stuff. So before the rage comes out, I just want to say that I can be understanding if I know what's going on and why things happened the way they did. That being said, Liberty City Stories is frustrating as hell! There are two mandatory races. Two of them. One is in a car, and one is on a bike. Motorcycles. 2 races, 2 mandatory races on the first island, so very early in the game, before the rest of the island opens up. On the second island, you can find most of the sports cars. There are no sports cars on the first island, except for one. About the second or third story mission, you find a sports car that belongs to a guy that you take out. And the mission client says, go ahead and take the car as payment. And if you parked that car into your safe house garage, you would have access to that sports car for this car race mission. If you did not keep that sports car, you're going to have a lot harder, more difficult of a time with this race. Luckily, I saved that sports car. And this race, which is about maybe the 6th or 7th mission, it's given to you by Ma Cipriani. She says that there's this dude, this racer, who's a better son than you. And so you, Tony Cipriani, gets angry at that fact, and you join a street race to race against Gris Sucho, who's the name of the guy who your ma thinks is a better son than you. So the mission is to race him, beat him, and then take him out. Now, I have problems with this race. The idea of these races seem to be antithetical to the idea of an open world sandbox where anything goes, where you could tackle a mission in many different ways. For example, if you have a sniper mission, and you decide you don't want to use the sniper rifle, you want to go down onto the ground and shoot the bad guys with a magnum or a shotgun, get up in their faces, you're allowed to do that. The mission does not fail if you put down the sniper rifle and pick up a different gun. The mission doesn't fail. You're free to tackle the mission any way you see fit. If you have an enemy who jumps on a motorcycle and drives off down dark alleys, tight alleys, jumping up ramps, bleeps and bloops and flips and flops and all sorts of topsy-turvy crazy crap, and there's a bike next to you, and the idea is that you jump on this bike and chase him on the bike versus bike, and just chase him down and all of that shit. If you feel like you want to do that, go for it. But the idea of the sandboxes is if you don't want to do that on the motorcycle, you're free to run out into the street, grab a car, and wait for the guy in the motorcycle to jump out onto the street, and then ram him with your car, knock him off his bike, and then back up over him and run him over. And then the mission is complete without having to chase him on the motorcycle. That's the idea of tackling a mission in many different ways. There are many different ways to succeed in a mission. When the races are concerned, there's only one way to complete it, which is get first place. That's the only way to win this race. You cannot sabotage the cars. If you decide to blow the car up before starting the race, the mission fails. If you decide to kill the driver after the mission starts or before the mission starts, the mission fails. If you decide to punch the racer off of his motorcycle and then destroy the motorcycle, but the racer himself is alive, so technically you haven't killed him, the mission still fails because you have destroyed their vehicle. There is absolutely no way to sabotage this race to make it easier for yourself. You have to play by the rules and win in first place. That's the only way to win that mission. The rules and rigidity of those types of missions feel antithetical to the many different ways to win a mission type of formula that is GTA, that is this type of open world sandbox. So naturally, And I have tried every single dirty trick in the book that I could possibly ever think of to try to avoid having to race, because I despise racing in these early GTA games. The only GTA game that I felt like the races actually worked properly was in GTA 5. And in GTA 5, you got access to car mods. Car mods are fantastic. I love the idea of car mods, where you can modify the wheels, the tires, and increase your traction, increase your steering, increase the engine power to go faster, a bit turn sharper and smoother, and just there's many different ways to make the cars work in your favor, work for you, rather than you get to slip and slide, as the cars are made of rubber, rubbery ice. They're ice skating on ice. You're like a hockey puck on an ice skating rink. That's how they feel in a lot of these earlier GTA games. It's like you try to drive fast, you get love tapped, and then you start to spin out of control. It's very irritating, especially when you love tap the car that you're chasing or a car that you're racing, and they're perfectly fine. It's like the controls work against you, but they work for them. It's just very irritating. It was very irritating. These races were extremely irritating. It took me hours, maybe even days, to complete both the car race and the bike race, and probably because I spent most of that time trying to figure out different ways, thinking outside of the box to try to win the race without racing normally, trying to beat them without having to beat them in the rule sets of the way the game is supposed to be played. That's how I love tackling these GTA games, is that if you don't want to do something a certain way, usually the game lets you have an alternative way to do something. If you don't want to chase somebody on a motorcycle, you could chase them in a car. You just have to be quick about it and run off into the street and grab a car and catch up to them before they get too far away from you. There are ways to tackle missions in ways that if you don't want to do it their way, you could do it your way. For example, there's a mission where you have to, in Vice City, for example, you have to get into a taxi cab and take it into a certain parking lot where a bunch of other, like 12 other taxi cabs are in there trying to chase you down and wreck your car. And if you decide to enter this little parking lot area with a Rhino instead, the big tank, you can do that. You can spawn a tank in this parking lot, get into the tank, and destroy all of the taxi cabs with very little difficulty. If you wish to do this, the game will let you, and the mission will not fail. This is the best thing that I loved about GTA, is that it lets you tackle missions in ways that you want to do it. If you don't want to do it their way, or if you think their way is too difficult, and you have a different way of doing it that you think is easier for you, the game will let you do it. The freedom of choice, the freedom of playing the way that you want. I love that about games like this. So how come the races are the one thing that's so incredibly rigid that you have to do it their way? You have to win first place. You can't get second or third or fourth. You have to win. You have to get first place. It seems illogical to me. For example, the Grease Sucho car race mission. The mission is that you have to beat him in a race and then kill him. And I'm thinking, why not just kill him during the race? It would have saved me a step. I wouldn't have had to race. It was just the idea of taking him out. That's all you really had to do. If you want to add races, go for it, but make them optional. Vice City made them optional. Liberty City Stories, outside of these two races, isn't that bad. There are some rough missions, some of them with time limits. Many missions are basically copy-paste, reskinned missions from GTA 3 or Vice City. There are very little improvements to the game that weren't in Vice City. Unlike GTA 3, which didn't have a map when you press start, you do have a map when you press start in Liberty City Stories. So for the first time, you get a map of Liberty City, which I very much approved of. You can even use a cursor to explore the map, and it will highlight which district your cursor is on. So if you go up here, this is Holland District. Oh, this is Mulholland District, whoever. You'll know the names of each district. So if you go to look up something and say, hey, where is this car found? And they say, oh, it's in this district. When I was playing Vice City, I couldn't find out district names when exploring the map, so I was pretty annoyed. And in this, now that it says, oh, the Esperanto is in Baxter District, and I go here and say, oh, there's that district, so I gotta go over there. It's much easier. It's much easier to navigate the map, so that is a definite improvement. And an improvement, though, is on the PS2 version, they do add right analog stick control to control the camera while you're running about. Since the PSP only had one analog stick, they did not have that type of control. In the PS2, you have extra buttons and knobs and things like that, so they incorporate them into the gameplay and make it a lot easier to do things. Unfortunately, the right stick analog stick is inverted, which means up is down and down is up. I don't understand this. I'm not flying a plane. I'm driving a car! I'm aiming a gun! Up should mean up! That's why they call it up! If I wanted to aim down, I'd press the down button! I don't understand what their obsession is with inverted controls like this. I don't mind it if it's in a plane! It makes sense in a plane! This isn't a plane, though. It's not a plane. Up should mean up. Down should mean down. It's what the names of the buttons are called. Up, down, down. It's not that difficult. It really is not that difficult to understand, to grasp. If I press down, I want to look down. If I press up, I want to look up. Unfortunately, San Andreas fixes this. The version of San Andreas that I have is the PS3 version, so I don't know if the PS3 version gave you GTA 4's controls or not, because I have no idea how the original controls for the PS2 San Andreas was, but the PS3 San Andreas has better controls, has better refined things. All of that stuff is just so much improved. It's so much better. So I cannot wait to finish Liberty City Stories and move on. And I've at least finished both races. I don't plan to 100% the file, because that means doing the other races. I'm not doing that. And I like the optionability of this. There's a lot of stuff in here that if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Unfortunately, they made 2 races mandatory, and you had to do them. Here's how I would have changed both of these races, because the story is very easy to fix this. All you have to do is add 2 alternate endings for each mission, 1 alternate ending each. For example, in the Grease Sucho mission, if you win the race, Grease Sucho is cowed by you and runs away. And then the next stage of the mission is to go chase him down and take him out. If you lose the race, Grease Sucho comes up to gloat at you, to brag at you, and then you take him out. That's as simple as that. That's all you gotta do. Record some lines, and that's it. And make the winning or losing optional. And it's fine. It still unlocks the car races that you do have to win. If you want to, those races are optional. And then when you get to the bike race, it's the same thing. The bike race is given to you by Maria. Maria is Salvatore Leone's girlfriend or wife, however that story is, or however that goes. I'm not getting into that. She's like half his age. So Maria gives you a mission saying that she has set herself up to be the prize of the winner of a bike race, and she's only now realizing that Salvatore Leone's going to be absolutely pissed off if he finds out about this, so you need to get her out of this jam. So you need to join the bike race, you need to win the bike race to win the girl. Well, the way the game works in the story is, if you win the race, Maria says, oh, you've won me, and then Tony says, what the heck are you talking about? You're my boss's girl, let's go home. And she gets pissed at you, and she jumps on the bike of the runner-up, and he rides off with her. And so the very next mission is you have to go take out that guy. It's called Biker Heat or whatever. You take him out in the very next mission. Here's how I would change this. I leave that ending of winning the race in. I leave that ending in. But the other ending that I would add is, if you lose the race, Maria basically just jumps on the winner's bike and rides off. Barely anything is said. And the mission concludes. You don't win anything in this mission. Even in the main game, even if you win the race, you don't win any money. So it doesn't matter if you lost the race then. You wouldn't win or lose anything. It would have been fine. It would have been fine for me, alright, to lose the race, because that way I wouldn't have had to win it. And that would have averted a lot of anger and annoyance and just... I'm just gonna come out and say that between these two races, I have retried these two missions, more times than I've retried any other mission in the entirety of the game. I've retried those two races more times than everything else combined. Probably more times than any mission I'd started and restarted in Vice City, too. Those races irritate me! I don't like them. Liberty City Stories has very little to offer that's unique, that's trying to set it up different from any other game in the early GTA series. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I technically do like this game more than GTA 3, because Tony Cipriani has a personality. He talks in this. Clyde, the protagonist in GTA 3, he does not talk. He doesn't say anything. He's a silent protagonist. And while I do like all of the characters that get introduced, the ones who give you the missions for you to do, they have great personalities, but the way Maria is written in GTA 3 almost makes it seem like she's your girlfriend or something. She leaves Salvatore Leone for you. But in Liberty City Stories, you learn that Maria is just some party girl who gets after anybody who lets her get after them. She's basically been around the whole town, and you get to listen to a bunch of hilarious bickering between Salvatore Leone and Maria. Salvatore says that you're like a rental VHS tape. You've been changed into thousands of players. Why the heck would I want to watch you? And then he just sits behind his desk and says, I wanted a harlot and I got I can't say that word. But it was funny. It was funny. And Tony Cipriani wants nothing to do with Maria outside of just keeping an eye on her, because he's got to keep her safe for Salvatore Leone. He's Salvatore's girl. Tony makes no moves on her at all. I completely respect that. I do. I completely respect that. Even if Salvatore's the worst type of person, I disrespect somebody else stomping on that turf, man. She's got to leave Salvatore of her own free will to get with somebody else. But she doesn't want to do that because she's not exactly a good person. She likes Sal's money. You see, Tony don't got that money. So while Maria would be happy to jump in the sack with Tony, she's going to stay with Sal because Sal's got the money. And that's the type of person I have no respect for. And Tony has no respect for her either. So I completely respect Tony as a character in a lot of this stuff, but the funny and this very sad part of Tony's character is his relationship with his mother. His mother actually calls Hitman out on him. Hitman, yes. She calls Hitman out on him. She says he's such a disappointing son that she's going to disown him, and that it's better off to just have Hitman kill him and just say, have a nice rest of your life. And then that's the end of the quest line from Ma Cipriani. Until after Salvatore Leone promotes Tony into a higher position in the Mafia, and then Tony's mom calls him and says, oh, I called off the hit, Tony, let's put it behind us. I always knew you had it in you, son. And it's like, this infuriates me. This infuriates me a little bit. I'm a little bit infuriated here. And especially in GTA 3, Tony has moved in with his mom, and yeah, you know, I don't know if it's like the Sopranos there. I don't know how Tony Soprano's relationship with his mother is. I don't know if it's anything similar, but I did watch DC's Penguin series. The Penguin series, the Penguin played by Colin Farrell. Yeah. His relationship with his mother reminds me a lot of Tony's relationship with his mother. Tony may have a couple screws loose as well, trying to please a mother that absolutely despises him, and he just can't see it. He just can't see it. His mother calls freaking hitmen out on him, and he doesn't get angry about that. It's kind of like a but it's alright. Liberty City Stories, Tony is a very interesting character. I like Tony as a character, but I don't think he's better than Tommy Vercetti at all. Tommy's probably the best protagonist in the series. Nico Bellic's better than this guy. Johnny's better than this guy. Louise is better than this guy. Michael and Franklin are better than this guy. That other guy, the white trash dude in GTA 5, I keep forgetting his name. The guy who kills Johnny. And I hated him for that. I hated him for killing Johnny. I absolutely despise this dude. And I'm like, why the heck do I have to play as Johnny's killer? I liked Johnny. Why the did you... So I would always play as Michael or Franklin, and I would avoid playing as this guy, except to do the main story missions. I know a lot of people like him. Trevor! That's his name, Trevor. I know a lot of people like Trevor because he's basically Jack Nicholson, a Jack Nicholson stereotype in a video game, and that is pretty funny. It is, but I despise him. He killed Johnny. I hate him. But yeah, if there's any protagonist that Tony is better than, it would probably be Trevor, because I personally hate Trevor. I just hate him. I hate him. That's bias. It's not that Trevor's a bad written character. He's probably expertly written. I just hated him. He killed Johnny, alright? I hate him. So yeah, Tony's better than Trevor to me, but Clyde is nothing burger, so I would probably put Trevor above Clyde, because Clyde has no personality at all. He has absolutely no personality at all. So it's just design. And Clyde does have a very appealing aesthetic. He's just very basic looking, so Tommy Vercetti looks a lot like Clyde as well. So Tommy Vercetti is basically the Clyde with a personality. That's why Tommy Vercetti is the best one, and Clyde is on the bottom of the list. Either way, this is Liberty City Stories. We're moving on to San Andreas next. I don't have access to Vice City Stories, so we're skipping that one. So at least I got 4 of the 5 classic GTA games. I don't know if I'm going to replay GTA 4. I have a fresh enough memory, but I remember getting infuriated at a few of GTA 4's missions. I got very infuriated at a bunch of them. So I don't know if I'm going to replay GTA 4. I don't think I'm going to. But I may replay GTA 5. I may replay that one just to enjoy it. But replaying GTA 5 right after San Andreas, I don't know. I may not play GTA 5 at all for quite a while. And because San Andreas may just give me my fix. San Andreas is the only one that's super popular that I haven't played yet. So we're going to get to it next. And after that, maybe some JRPGs. Maybe Wild Arms. Maybe it's finally time for Wild Arms.